Hey Mim.
Hey Scarlett.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Style Over Substance.
We're just two friends talking about our experiences working inside the fashion industry and also our observations from outside the fashion industry. It's sometimes serious, but it's definitely always a good laugh.
Always. We release new episodes every Tuesday.
So subscribe on your favourite podcast listening platforms.
Sup?
What's up? Were you in the office today? Because you look dressed up.
Yeah, I was in the office today. It was my last office day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wearing some sort of heel boots.
Oh, I love a heeled boot.
Yeah, me too. I mean, mine are really scuffed and I really need to replace them, but I can't find the same style. And I'd be happy to spend a bit more money. I think mine were just from Zara.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to spend a bit more money, but I just can't find the same shape, sort of heel height, like the whole combined thing.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I don't also want to look like a scruff because I'm like dressed up, and then you don't want your shoes to look like a scruff. But anyway, that was by the by. I was wearing these heel boots, but my legs really hurt from the gym. So I was like walking around and I felt like I was on stilts. So yeah. But I do enjoy the days that I dress up for the office. I do enjoy it. And I've really tried to incorporate sort of lots of time into my morning routine when I have to go into the office, just to take time and feel nice, rather than rushing that makeup, like quickly getting out the door. I really enjoy that process. So I make sure I've got enough time to like, am I going to play with this bit of makeup today, or what am I going to wear, and just try and enjoy that rather than like, oh my God, I've got to be out the door in 5 minutes. What am I going to wear?
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Do you plan your outfits ahead of time?
No.
Oh, really? Not even the night before?
No. Sometimes I have an idea, but I think I'm quite an emotional dresser.
Okay.
So there are days, so I have certain clothes where I feel like you need confidence to wear it. I have clothes maybe with a bigger collar or dresses with bigger, more exaggerated sleeves. I think you need a bit of confidence. You need to feel like, yeah, this is me today. And then I have my safer options. Yeah, I do. I think I'm quite an emotional dresser.
I am not.
Yeah.
Really. I can plan my outfit.
Mim looks effortlessly chic 24/7.
No, I don't. No. But that's, I think, if you do see me look good, it's because I planned that outfit like a week ago. I love an excuse to wear clothes, if I'm honest. I've already started thinking about what I'm going to bring with me to my holiday in August.
Yeah, okay? Great.
I'm completely driven by how my hair looks.
Really?
Honestly, like,
does that affect your outfit?
So I really and truly, I have 2 hairstyles.
I'm looking at one of them.
One of them you could see, and it involves hair gel and
sleek bun.
If it's a sleek bun, and if I have this hairstyle, it's like a polished.
Yeah, anything goes.
I can wear anything I want. Yeah, I can wear something that's particularly girly or particularly tomboyish or whatever. You know, like casual and like trackies or something. It runs the gamut. Yeah, it does the job. If I haven't planned to go anywhere in particular and I've washed my hair, and I'll do twists and I'll put it in a bun at the top, it's got to be like freshly washed hair for it to still look neat. Do you know what I mean? As soon as my hair starts to look messy or something, I'm like, I can't wear nice things.
You've got to embrace the sort of like shabby chic.
I'll be like, I look too ugly to wear nice things.
Oh man.
No, you get what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In a rough, like, for example, imagine you've just gone to the gym, yeah? You're like sweaty, red in the face, let's say. Hair is a mess. you wouldn't then put on a ball gown,
Yeah.
would you?
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is a bit lipstick on a pig.
Lipstick on a pig.
So that's what I mean. Like, and if I have an outfit in mind that I'm going to wear, say I've got something on the weekend, then I will think about, okay, well, I need to sort my hair out in time for that, because otherwise this outfit doesn't work.
I have that in a similar way, but I also don't like some certain outfits. I think hair can look too pristine. I have that where if I get sort of make it look blow dried, that you're then like, oh, I might look a bit too twee with coiffed hair.
Is it like when we were kids and you were going to like a special occasion and you get like ringlets and the ringlets are a little bit too perfect?
Don't get brushed out or anything like that. It still really stresses me out that people don't realize that if you curl your hair, you're meant to brush that out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we digress.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's your fashion story? So, I don't know about you, but my Instagram algorithm thinks I'm wealthier than I am.
Listen.
It's stressful. I mean, it's helpful in this sense, but that's a really nice dress, £400. Okay. And you just click right off and you might admire it, but that's not even in my realm of what I'm going to spend.
Yeah.
And that's probably the cheapest I get as well.
But that's because you follow some wealthy.
Yeah, it must be what I follow, but I also think Instagram must know what I purchase. Like,
you'd think by now, but they're trying to get you to spend more.
It thinks I'm wealthier than I am, and actually it's probably a good thing, because if they sent me all that stuff and it was at a price I could afford, I'd probably be spending more money on there. But I just kind of feel like, how have you got this so wrong?
You know, the ones that get me is like those independent brands,
ones
you've never heard of before.
Yeah. And so you get really excited to discover them.
Yeah. And then it's like, click learn more, or click to be taken to their Instagram account. And then you do that, you follow the link through, you're like, I'm going to look at their shop because their stuff looks good. Let me see how much it is. And as you said, it's like £400 for a dress. And you're like, you're having a laugh, mate. Yeah. I would buy something if it were a fifth of the price. Yeah. But I physically cannot afford this.
Yeah. I just find it's kind of funny. And I've really noticed it's ramped up a lot. And we all know, in aspects of my job, I definitely look at sort of like SEO and people's engagement with things, to kind of know what's popular and what's not. And for sure, Instagram will have that built into their platform. That gosh, Mim has interacted with this £400 dress for only 2 minutes, but she was actually scrolling through this website and she was on it for 10 minutes because like it was this price range or whatever. They will know that. They have that information really readily available. But yeah, it's not my price range.
I know. I think we just need to do some manifestation because it works for other people. I think we need
manifestation works for a lot of people. I don't know how that works well enough to really know what I'm truly meant to put out there.
Can we start a manifestation journey together where we promise to say to each other, ourselves, I mean, in the morning, in the mirror. Now, I follow Candy Brathwaite. She's amazing. Follow her. She's funny. She's insightful. She's really smart. And she says that she got it from someone else. And her manifestation is to say, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's almost like to say, now let me see how good things, like just how good things can get for me. Like, surprise me, universe. How good does it get?
Wow.
And I thought, yeah, like, not how bad can things get, but like, just show me how good can you possibly be to me.
Yeah, I definitely think positivity draws in positivity. Not that this is a woo-woo podcast. Not that this even is woo-woo. One of the most positive things I do in my life, I fall off the wagon when I'm in a good point, is I do gratitude journal. And that's, if I met me 5 years ago, that is not what I would do. But I find that it's the power of recognizing things. It helps you. And I think that's the same with manifestation, is that if you're saying something like, yeah, show me how good it can get, is that you're already telling yourself that life is good. Because I think we're really quick to be like, oh, I had a really bad ordeal today. Can you believe it? I forgot my keys for this. And like, oh, life is so cruel. And actually, if you spin it, your attitude changes, you open yourself up to stuff, your language changes. We've talked about it before, of even just the language around certain things in fashion, like secondhand clothing, pre-loved, like all of that stuff really impacts how we see things. And so I think if we, like, positivity, really, it's a big one.
It is. And hopefully I can manifest, I don't know, another Balenciaga bag or something.
Yeah. Well, I keep telling myself, well, I said it sort of for this year, but for sure 30 is the year of sort of, it's a girl that I follow on Instagram who said it for her year, that she's like not focusing on men, and it's just a year for her to focus on wealth. And I think hers was like being sexy or something like that. But like, basically it was like the year of her. It's the year of just like, I'm focusing on me, I'm celebrating me, I'm making sure that I feel good and that I'm looking after myself and my incentives, and what comes with that. But
yeah, 100% back that. I think that I'm not a journaler at all. It's not my speed.
No.
However, I am the sort of person at the beginning of the year, I write down things I want to achieve. Now, do I always achieve them? No, I don't. But I'm a big believer in having an overall vision for yourself, an overall plan. Otherwise, we just get lost and bogged down in the everyday, and we don't actually move towards things.
So true.
And even if I write them down and I don't achieve jack shit, at least I moved.
It was an attempt.
I moved in the right direction, you know, baby steps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe, you got to have a goal for yourself. Yeah.
And you know who had a goal for herself?
Go on, tell me.
Miss Victoria Beckham. The world's worst segue.
At least we try.
We do. We try. You guys love it. We interrupt this broadcast to say, go follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @StyleOverSubstance pod. There you'll find our weekly fashion topics, all the stuff that we discuss in each episode, and our polls.
Or reach out to us at StyleOverSubstancePodcast@gmail.com for new suggestions of topic discussions, or even to share your own fashion stories. We also have a YouTube channel, Style Over Substance Podcast, if you'd rather listen to our episodes over there.
Back to the episode. So this week we haven't done one of these for a while.
Ages, yeah.
A brand episode, and who better to do it on than our Spice Girl extraordinaire, Posh Spice, our beloved BB.
She's like the patron saint of this podcast. We have a lot of time for her brand.
We have done a lot of snaps for VB over the like 2 years we've done this.
Yeah. I think what's so interesting about Victoria Beckham is she is fashion. She loves fashion. She's always been a part of it, you know, and she's done a really, now I put the word successful in quotation marks.
Let's not talk about financial.
Okay, she has managed to rebrand herself as a legit designer with a brand, no? And yeah, she is Posh Spice. But at a time when really people thought, oh my God, it's just another celebrity company or whatever, she has established a brand that is recognizable by name. Oh, it's her name, but you know, people know that she has a fashion brand and a beauty brand. And I think it's an interesting story. I also think that the tale of her brand says something about the fashion industry as a whole, and how it can be, you can have all the money and all the fame in the world, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee you success in this sphere.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And also when I was researching for this, I didn't realize how long her path sort of into it had been. And yeah, I just think that was she the most fashion conscious Spice Girl? Probably,
I think so.
The others were probably more costumes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she was called Posh Spice, but she came from Essex, so that was also a costume.
I love it.
But yeah, I do want to start with like probably like the biggest headline in regards to her brand, and then kind of take it down the history of her brand and how she came to be, and other kind of facts about her brand and whatnot. So Victoria Beckham, I would say luxury brand, definitely got luxury price point, is basically, having been launched in 2008, in the year of 2022, is still making a loss financially and has never actually made a profit after 14 years of its existence. And so, taken from a Guardian article, I get like kind of these facts and these figures. So it's still making a loss, or it still made a loss in 2020, but luckily it was less of a loss than the year prior to that, so in 2019. And what's happened is that her brand is owned by herself and her husband, as well as shareholders and a venture capitalist company, and they've essentially just been like pumping money into the business to keep it afloat. Last year, not last year, let's say like during the kind of height of COVID and global lockdowns and all of that, it continued to make a loss, obviously. Money had to continually be put into it. They took advantage of the furlough scheme, essentially, which, if you're not from the UK, it was what a lot of countries were doing, basically financially supporting citizens who had lost their job and whatnot, or who were at risk of losing their job. So their company took advantage of the furlough scheme to pay staff, and then had to kind of like walk back on that, because this was a couple who were worth like £350 million. What are they doing taking money from government to save their staff? But they've been trying to like turn it around by making modifications to their supply chain, by selling directly to their consumers via their own website, as opposed to third-party retailers. They also laid off a fifth of staff in order to slim down their expenses. And they'd also removed about a third. They'd slimmed down the the merchandise offering. So a third of their garments were removed from sale, you know, slim down the offering, as I said, and just make everything a bit more streamlined. So when you kind of look at it like that, it sounds like a really dire situation.
Yeah, I think what that says to me is that fashion is a crazy game. How on earth? Like, it's one thing if it was just owned by her and David and they are just happily pumping in their own money and that is their own satisfaction. They have shareholders and a venture capitalist behind them. And how has no one gone, this is not doing what it needs to do?
And close the business.
Yeah. Because you know what? If a business is not making money, it shouldn't exist. And it's had long enough. I would say a business needs 10 years to prove if it can make money, and she's surpassed that. And she also has the fortune of a platform that has probably expedited that 10 years as well, and probably would have been seen by now if it was also going to happen. But that just says to me that fashion's a crazy game, and I think that's really common, and I think that's why so many companies sort of go bust or into administration and reestablish themselves. I think it's an industry where cash flow is really difficult. And actually at one point I found myself working for a company where there for sure was money being pumped into it, and it felt very much just like a game of, this is my dream and I'm living out my dream until the money ends.
Like a really expensive project and hobby.
And like, may I caveat with this, I'm actually a really big fan of Victoria Beckham's clothing. I really admire her for what she's managed to do. But like, who are you kidding at this point?
How much time do we need to give the brand in order to be able to make a turnaround financially?
Yeah, and I think the difficulty is that she gets such a hard time and scrutiny more than any other brand when it comes to the financials. We don't see this publicized about really anyone.
Yeah. Until they go bust. Like, once they go bust, you're like, oh well, we saw that coming. But yeah.
And so yeah, it's a really difficult one. But yeah, it's unfortunately the fashion industry. It's not as lucrative and affluent as we're led to believe in the high end.
Yeah. Definitely. I think she's lucky in that obviously David, her husband, has had a lot of lucrative business deals. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are able to pump in money into the brand because of how much money he's kind of made on his side, ex-footballer. He's got his whiskey. He's got all kind of brand deals, perfume ads, you name it. And so that's allowed for them to keep the VB brand afloat. Yeah. I think that the kind of business dealings that he's got involved in have been in partnership with other companies, like a drinks company. A drinks company has probably approached him and say, okay, do you want to do Hague Club with us? You know, or, he's had underwear. He has like his underwear brand, doesn't he? I'm sure it was an underwear brand who approached him, or he approached them and kind of went into partnership with them. Whereas Victoria Beckham is, as a brand, is her. As far as I can tell, she's with a venture capitalist company, but we all know that for the most case, they just pump money into it. They don't necessarily understand the fashion industry and have contacts in that realm and have suppliers and have the whole infrastructure already set up in order to make it a successful brand. I don't think that's what's happened with Victoria. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But I really get the sense that she's gone at it alone, and I could be wrong, but maybe that's the reason why it hasn't been as successful. Essentially, she was a startup, but just with a really high profile name. And normally we expect that to translate into sales. But I will say, I think her stuff is too expensive.
Yeah, I have a feeling she's actually getting rid of the main line and it's just becoming the diffusion in terms. So I think then it's just going to be one label, but with the lower price point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that rumor is founded, but I think that was one of the solutions to their problems at one point was to implement that. I think it's really difficult in the fashion industry to come in at a luxe price point without heritage. I just, like, obviously it's mental anyway that clothes cost that much, but Chanel, Prada, Fendi, Gucci.
You said Prada, Fender.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm just recreating brands. You know who I mean. It's justified because there's a heritage.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to come in at that price point and only be like 14 years old.
So the article that I read said she has decreased the prices on some of the dresses and kind of lessened the embellishments and things, kind of simplified the designs of these dresses and also the prices in order to capture like a wider market, which makes sense. I think that selling trousers at £450, as you said, doesn't have heritage. I mean, the idea of heritage is bullshit anyway, but for a far less established brand to be commanding those prices, is it unheard of? No, because the Row can get away with that sort of bullshit somehow. I'm not sure how, but they do. I think it's time for her to decrease the price across the board, across all her product categories, quite frankly. Because if they're still at a loss this far down the line, at her kind of level of fame, something's got to give. And you know, like how Debenhams, now this was a thought of mine, you know how Debenhams used to do that like collection with Ben DeLisi or like Matthew Williamson, and they had these long-standing collaborations with Debenhams, and people like used to love that. And they used to, like, I know my mum bought stuff from those collections, and you go in Debenhams and there'd be like this whole like back wall of like all their designs, and year after year they would come out with a new collection with Debenhams. And no word of a lie, those things used to sell out and make money, and they were successful. And there's no shame in partnering up with, well, first decreasing your price so that you could be, I could definitely see her like as premium high street, like Reese, Whistles. No, but it's not. I think her designs are great.
Never.
But I think more people would be able to buy into her brand and support her, because her designs are appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But to really make like financial success of her brand, I think she could do really well in that space.
I think the difficulty is that she will want a premium product.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to make money on, because the best way to cut corners is to use cheaper fabrics, all of that stuff. And actually she's quite conscious of quality. When she launched her beauty brand in, I believe it was 2019, all the packaging is recyclable or biodegradable. She was really conscious about it being clean and environmentally friendly, which lots of people sort of say, but I had no idea it was and like even the packaging is recyclable, like products that people have basically avoided or thrown away, or and it's luxe. It looks luxe. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
When you hear that, you expect it to come in like
cardboard
tin foil. But yeah, I think I wish she was making more of a success financially of it, but I still respect the graft, man. I still respect the graft from Spice Girl to fashion designer.
Do you think it could be seen as a failure to completely rethink her approach to her brand?
I just can't see her doing that after this long. I just really can't. I don't think so. I mean, she had a few forays into fashion before launching this. I literally hate the word eponymous line. I don't know why I hate the word eponymous so much. It just feels a bit like, I don't know. So in 2004, she designed a limited line for Rock and Republic called VB Rocks.
Oh, I don't remember that.
And then in 2006, she launched her own denim label called DVB.
I remember that. That was with David, wasn't it?
I believe so. But she, like, in between then, she's been the ambassador for D&G. She's walked in runways for Cavalli. She's styled shoots for Harper's Bazaar. She's been the face of Marc Jacobs. So she was really, post Spice Girls, her focus was fashion. And I think it was difficult to probably realize at the time because the fashion of that era was pretty shocking. We'll find pictures of like, when I read that she was a face of D&G, I was like, of course she did. She wore loads of D&G, but it was like she looked like a prostitute because she had such fake boobs. Do you remember when she saw those?
Yeah, they were like rock solid, that were like,
and she
really
had
high and spread apart,
quite blonde
crop, Karen,
long lopsided bob.
Yeah, for those who don't know or don't remember this period of Victoria's life, you know the meme for Karens now where it's like that side crop, streaked, highlighted,
ultra
long fringe pixie cut thing. Victoria Beckham was rocking that before it became the international haircut of Karens.
Yeah.
And she used to wear these like really high shoes. She still does. With really like tight leather or black outfits. It was a weird time back then, but that was her like fashion girl look. Like we were supposed to take her seriously as a fashion girl.
And we weren't. I mean, everyone was wearing bad outfits. Yeah. But it just wasn't as obvious as it has become now. But yeah, so she launched VB, or Victoria Beckham, the label, in 2008. And I would say it probably took maybe like 6 years for people to really give her kudos, or kudos for not it just being a celebrity brand or a celebrity line, and it actually having legs of its own, the designs actually having an appeal, and for her to, really dedicating to it. And it's, from my recollection, it's always had a real strong design ethos and aesthetic, which I think is really admirable, to not keep being like, oh, people want this, people want that. She has been really clear of what she wants.
Yeah. You're right. You wouldn't be able to see her design on the street and be like, yeah, that's Victoria Beckham.
There was one dress
consistent
that went viral, or like quite popular for a while. It was like a zip dress. I remember lots of like business women would wear it. It was like a pencil style dress.
I can see that
did the rounds.
Well, in 2011, she won like Designer of the Year at the British Fashion Awards,
which is huge.
It's a big deal. Yeah, I don't. Now, people will say, "Yep, she won the award because she's Victoria Beckham." Like, come on, she's super famous. She's married to David Beckham. Like, you know, they're going to give that award to obvious choices, but that's still a big achievement. I think for many years she showed her collections in New York Fashion Week.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hindsight is 2020. I don't know if she would have been better off kind of sticking to the UK and showing in London Fashion Week for all those years and really establishing herself on her home turf and having all her celeb friends kind of wear her clothing and really push it. I don't know if that would have made any difference, but I think because I think they'd moved out to the States and David was like buying up a football club or something like that in Miami or where, you know, whatever.
He was probably playing
his retirement.
LA Galaxy at the time.
Yeah. I don't know if that played into it as to why she was like more present in New York. But maybe she didn't carry the cultural weight out there that she would have if she'd been here in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to navigate because there are no wrong or right answers. Some people who make it in the fashion industry, it's by pure chance, quite frankly.
Right place, right time.
Exactly, yeah. But then she did move into beauty, which I believe...
Which I'm still surprised then that they're making a loss at the business, because we've spoken about this time and time again, that is a fashion house's bread and butter. And like, as a beauty lover, junkie myself, her products are good. Her products are really good.
Yeah, you told me this, yeah.
And I'd expect no less from her, but they're really good. It's not like, oh, I'll buy that once because it's Victoria Beckham. People would buy that stuff again. Her stuff is really good.
Yeah. It's not gimmicky.
Some things are like her skincare stuff is really expensive. But yeah, I'm amazed that the beauty side of things hasn't lifted things and elevated it. But
yeah, I think that it's going to take time. You have to sell a lot of units.
Yeah, she's just got to get the perfume right, and then you know, Bob's your uncle.
Make it sound so easy.
No, but perfume is just like a fool's game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, it can be done in a really flippant way, but there are a lot of brands out there that you would not appreciate just how many units year after year after year they've managed to sell. Like, nowhere to lie, Britney Spears Fantasy. Okay,
it's still one of the best-selling perfumes.
It's like one of the best-selling perfumes ever.
When did that come out? 2010s?
Yeah, and people, I feel I'm very close.
I've never smelled. I don't even know if I've smelt it before.
I don't know either, but I'm very close to buying it because it's not that expensive.
I need to know what the hell this hype is about.
And everyone says that
if I see it at the airport, guys.
Yeah, it's legit up there with some of the most sophisticated fragrances.
Yeah.
It was made by someone who, like, you know, is legit in the industry, but people at the time probably would have said to Britney, like, oh, you know, just flog whatever. It's just a bunch of like 13-year-old girls.
You don't even have to like the smell, you know.
Exactly.
We're just trying out this perfume thing.
Exactly. And then when we think of like the late great Thierry Mugler, his Angel, some people love it, some people hate it.
I love it.
But again, that is a perfume that has transcended time. He doesn't even he's passed now, but at his death he didn't own his own brand, like the clothing side of it, but the perfume was still seen as iconic and kept his name in the public domain for decades. And so perfume is like serious business. That can be the thing that carries your brand through its like lowest points.
For sure. for sure. It's I feel it brewing, you know.
Really,
I'm sure she would have done one with David at some point.
Yeah, definitely. But this is not like a couples collab. Like, you know, when they like CK1
back then when Fantasy came out, it wasn't. Yeah, they had someone from the industry make a nice smelling fragrance, but it wasn't thought out. It wasn't curated. I mean, like One Direction brought out fragrances, you know. It was just what everybody did. Whereas I think for a celebrity to bring out a perfume now, you'd really have to make that smell great. And it really have to stand the test of time. And on that note, I wonder what's going on with KKW's fragrances. Because they did well for a while, but I haven't seen much about that since.
But the thing is, you don't have to hear much about them for them to still be doing well. Because it's like Paris Hilton's fragrances. I suppose she makes most of her money.
That woman.
I know. I think they probably do still sell in the background consistently. Because
like for sure. And I've heard that they were really nice smelling things.
Yeah. Perfume's that thing that it's like makeup. When you find that perfect eyeliner, that shadow,
when you identify with it, a smell,
that foundation color just matches perfect. You have to keep going back time and time again because it's the one.
Yeah.
Another thing to note about Victoria Beckham
Paco Rabanne.
Huh?
That's a fragrance by Paco Rabanne, the one, I think.
Oh. I was gonna say another thing to note about Victoria Beckham's brand is that it's easy to underestimate that now all these celebs are coming out with their own hair care lines, their own loungewear brands, their own everyone's got something going on, their own like the Honest Company is like all natural baby stuff. And celebrities approach business in a far more serious way. Like, this is the next phase of my life, and I'm dedicating everything I have to my now business. Whereas before, celebrity businesses weren't as taken as seriously. It was like merch. It was like you bought your favorite celebrity whatever because it was an extension of them and not necessarily because it was like standalone as a product. It was legit, you know, or at least that's not why you bought into it initially. Whereas she tried to kind of distance herself from her as the wife of David, as the former Spice Girl, and was like, this is something I'm going to attempt to do as a standalone entity. And I think it's easy to forget that now that we see so many celebrities kind of take that same approach to their business.
Yeah, I think what she did was probably actually really challenging at the time. And I remember she must have faced a lot of backlash of like, all right, here we go. She's just trying to do this. And even just her commitment to the fact that she's stuck at it for 14 years, it's faced adversity, it's gone through a pandemic, she hasn't folded it. She is still trying, like, shows that she believes in it, whether that's right or wrong in terms of the financials. That shows that is her passion. She hasn't gone back for Spice Girls tour. She's not in it for the finance. She's in it for the love of it or whatever it might be. And I think that it wasn't the easy choice for her to do. She could have easily done a line of those dresses that we were mocking earlier and made loads of money and been very responsive to trends and essentially sell what she's wearing. Yeah. And she sort of started then just really hiding her figure in the styles of Victoria Beckham, the label, and it became very different. Sort of quite out there, some of the stuff that she was doing, and people didn't necessarily like it, but she was doing it from a fashion perspective. And yeah, I think it's not the safe option for her. And in my head, I don't think of it as a celeb line.
Neither do I.
And I think I really quickly was like, good for her for trying this. And I think you could tell very early on that it wasn't just her creating clothes she wanted to wear. She wore the hat of I'm designing or creating whatever her role is in the company. It was there was a fashion focus, there was an aesthetic, there was a girl that she was designing for. And yes, she might wear the clothes from time to time, but it just wasn't like, let me create clothes that I want to wear. There was more to it than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think she started wearing her brand's clothes as opposed to
that's a really great way
clothes
to
that she was already wearing. Yeah, I don't know. Victoria Beckham's a really interesting case, I feel. And I hope that going back to I think a point you've made in the past about heritage brands, this is essentially how they start. Like, they don't necessarily make a ton of money to begin with.
Gotta start from somewhere.
Yeah. Chanel opened her brand or started her brand. It was with the funding of someone who was much wealthier, who was her sponsor in essence. And that family, I think they're called the Wertheims. I can't pronounce it, but they still own the Chanel company and it's a family business. And you know, Chanel No. 5 came out and they had the perfume licensing, and that was the thing that, you know, generated a lot of money, even when Chanel was fuddy-duddy and no one was buying into it. The perfume was still there. And Victoria Beckham could very well be playing the long game, and there's nothing wrong with that. She has the financial backing.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, from what appears to be a lot of shareholders
out of her own pocket at this point.
Yeah. And shareholders who are willing to continue to fund this project as well for like longer term gains. So I can definitely see why she would be like, I've given it almost 15 years. There's no reason for me to stop now. Like, what is it called? Like the sum cost fallacy, the sunken cost, that thing where you feel like you've already put so much into it, you got to keep going until the end. And she's in a lucky position in that sense, that she's able to have gotten away with it for so long. And genuinely, I would buy her stuff if she would just lower the price.
I wonder if that's actually also the secret of a lot of brands, is that they just had this sort of financial resources to keep it going.
Definitely.
Until it became something. I wouldn't mind betting if we delved into that was the case for a lot of the household and heritage brands we now know and love.
We've had I think probably a year back now, we did an episode about these fashion conglomerates and these groups. You know, LVMH is massive because they swoop up well-known brand names in alcohol, fashion, other luxury experiences, and they pump money into it. And, you know, they'll have Louis Vuitton and Moet that makes a lot of money, and they'll funnel some of that profit into the smaller brands, like, you know, smaller ones that aren't making as much, in order to bring them up to scratch to a point where they are also profitable. So I don't think there's it's not a surprise that we have like Kering, LVMH, Prada Group, who own multiple brands, and they are essentially funding these other brands, which under different circumstances would not have survived.
Yeah.
Like Alexander McQueen or like countless others, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're just trying to get to a point
to become a part of the groups,
and then they get bought. And then she stays as like CEO or something like that. Yeah.
I feel like there will be a plan.
There has to be.
Especially like like you said, if it's lifestyle, if it's expanding beauty, if it's that, you know, she's playing the long game and she's like checking out what group she's going to be part of, whatever it might be, or setting herself up for it to be a brand in 50 years time. I feel like there's a plan in place.
Yeah, I think you can't have all these
I don't think she's stupid.
And venture capitalists and all of those people,
they're not stupid, they're not wasting their money.
You have to have some sort of, like, even if it's an exit strategy, gotta have something. Yeah. What is our poll for this week?
Victoria Beckham. Is it a fashion line or is it a celebrity line, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Because we might have, like, we're fans, but the people might not be.
It's true.
Don't
we
let
have a little echo chamber here, so we could just be talking to each other, just agreeing with each other. Yeah.
We stan. I don't even know what that means, but we stan Victoria Beckham. Yeah. Oh, I'm so old.
And her dry sense of humor. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Style Over Substance, guys.
Don't forget to check out our Instagram or Spotify to respond to this week's poll.
Bye.